Hey guys, how's it going? I'm the Duke of Italy, your favorite lo-fi music YouTuber, and welcome back. Genre, January. That took some coordination from me, but you know what? We're here, and I'm ready to get sad, and not the good kind of sad, as if there was a good kind of sad. From because the people that were covering the music of today probably would argue there's a good kind of sad, because they talk about it so much. So last time we covered Broken Side, and Broken Side was bad. They were very bad. And but they were traditional crunkcore, traditional as if it's got any legacy or history or more than a decade and a half worth of music from it. Not even good music, but music, because it is crunkcore. But the thing with Broken Side is they had a normal amount of albums, 5 albums, 12-year, 13-year span. But today we're covering something different. So today we are covering the one and only Blood on the Dance Floor. Now, few disclaimers first of all, because this is some new territory. First of all, I'm going to try and steer away from the Davi Vanity sort of the scandals going on with him, the thing with the kids. But I will have to bring it up at a couple points just because he even addresses it in his music, which is well, I'll get to that. Another disclaimer: I'm aware Blood on the Dance Floor is not completely crunkcore. I know a lot of the times it's just more electronica, kind of scene music here and there, but there are a lot of songs that delve into the crunkcore stylings. Unfortunately, there isn't a crunkcore album that I can hear that I can say that I have any sort of even like sympathy towards or like just having fun with. Broken Side I can have fun with probably two of those albums, maybe three. Not really. Like three songs, and they were still really bad. Blood on the Dance Floor is not like that. Blood on the Dance Floor is consistently low quality, and it's really interesting seeing how wide a gap of garbage there is. Because I mean, obviously, if you have like a song where maybe someone's vocals are just terrible, then you could say it's a bad song. But maybe the guitar work is good, or the drumming is good, or maybe it's just an interesting concept overall. That could still be a bad song. But here, there's a failure on a fundamental level of music, and I'll get into that. But basically, Blood on the Dance Floor has some crunkcore parts. That is kind of why they're paired in with Broken Side, and they're the Warped Tour crowd, so we're addressing them here. Final thing about Blood on the Dance Floor, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, this is part one. I am only covering their first 6 albums today. God have mercy on my soul. I'm talking about 6 Blood on the Dance Floor albums in a row. Believe me, this was one of the hardest things I've had to do for this channel. Not because it's just so much. Like, I've had charts where it's like 20 albums, and I just listen to that all in like a couple weeks, and then I churn out the review. That black metal chart was 30 plus albums, and I loved that chart. That was a lot of great albums here. But this thing, I just physically could not get through some of these albums without like 2 breaks or 3 breaks. And for a two-sided album, that should not be happening. Speaking of sided and vinyls and physical media, I have no idea how you can obtain any Blood on the Dance Floor physical media. I don't know if it's sold anywhere. Obviously, probably the original files that were uploaded to MySpace for the first couple albums, they're probably gone or held by just some weird fans and then uploaded to YouTube. That's actually how I listened to all these albums so far, was YouTube. But I'm digressing a little bit. It's not like I'm going to actually buy a physical copy of this. There's actually one little thing I should address also about these albums. I do not know the way the track lists are meant to be on a lot of these albums. A lot of times I had to just kind of be like, maybe it's this or this. But it's really hard to tell because all the YouTube uploads are of deluxe editions, and I cut out the bonus tracks. And I know this is a discography review, and I know I probably should be covering the bonus tracks and maybe even the remixes. It's Blood on the Dance Floor. What are you going to seriously expect? Like, a big criticism of a lot of this material is I'm going to say it's literally just like the rest of the album. And I know there's consistency, but it's repetition. It's tiresome. I get genuinely worn out by a lot of this music. I don't want to hear any more of it. It's taken a lot of me just to do the studio albums. And yes, I am skipping the Unplugged album, where I think they introduced a couple more songs, but they mostly did covers of their older songs, or just remixes of their older songs, just an acoustic version. And by looking at that track list, they include I'm a Monster from the second album. I can already tell it's not exactly a banger of an album. But if you're so inclined to listen to the EPs and stuff after I tell you all this stuff so you have a full understanding of the Blood on the Dance Floor discography. Be my guest, but I would not recommend any of this. Another thing that's kind of surreal about listening to these 6 albums in such a short amount of time, it warps your perception of what quality is. Any little thing I could even be like, oh, that's like okay, felt monumental, where I'm like, maybe this song's like actually good, and then I'm like, no, that's such a tiny sliver of something good. Like the best Blood on the Dance Floor songs are because the hook isn't that awkward. Believe me, the rest of it's going to be awkward. Like, not a single song on here goes off without a hitch. It's just shocking how fundamentally broken some of this music is. And I've probably told you guys that my least favorite studio released album that I've listened to in its entirety so far is LMFAO's debut, probably at this point. But at this point, it's probably Broken Side's 3rd album. But I'm telling you, after today, that it is no longer the case. Last thing, I will not be covering the Kawaii Monster releases. Blood on the Dance Floor changed the band name to Kawaii Monster, named after their later album Kawaii Monster, which I will talk about next week, but I have not covered it yet, and I will not be covering the Kawaii Monster material because literally it's not Blood on the Dance Floor. I know technically it is, but I mean Blood on the Dance Floor after like 2016 isn't even Blood on the Dance Floor because Davi switches Jay out for the girl, I guess. So I don't know. I'm not going to put a critical analysis on this stuff. It's literally just a critique of how bad this stuff is. Last thing I want to mention, I don't know if this guy was trolling. On Mew, a guy posted a chart a couple days ago, actually, and he had 2 Blood on the Dance Floor albums on there. One of them was probably their worst album, which I'll get to, and I was genuinely just confused. So, you know what? That's enough rambling. I'm kind of trying to avoid talking about these, as you can tell, because this is going to be over an hour worth, probably, of me talking about Blood on the Dance Floor, and I'm not too excited about it, especially because most of these albums are over 50 minutes. I don't think there's a single one of under 45, which they have no reason to be that long. They're not given anything impactful by just being longer. Critique of every single album so far, they all are too long. But, you know, that's not really a great critique considering that the quality of some of these albums is pretty consistent. So you could say it doesn't even drag. But there is at least one filler track per album. So enough with the semantics and the skirting around this. Let's start with the 2008 MySpace release. Let's Start a Riot. So this album kicks off with the song Let's Start a Riot. And it's like nothing Blood on the Dance Floor ever does again. I've heard it described as dungeon synth. I don't say it's dungeon synth. It's like medieval ambient. It's bizarre. It's also not good. I mean, I could say my expectations have been defied. I did not expect anything like this. But that's the most pleasure I get out of this album. Next is a song I Can't Get Enough, spelled like that. It's spelled ENUFF. So it starts off with these synths, and you're already going to notice Blood on the Dance Floor is electronica. They never stray from electronic music, except on this album a bit later, but almost every time it's synths. Almost entirely synths. And it's just gross. These synths sound terrible here, and it actually gets worse later, but they're already bad. Also, the voices aren't mixed, and I know this is a MySpace release, but it's like kind of washed out. And the vocals here are very hooky, but I can't hear the hooks all that well. And you probably noticed by this album, Davi Vanity does not have a good singing voice. He has probably 4 albums in a row of just terrible singing until eventually he cranks the auto-tune up so much that he can almost fake it, but it's not good. He has the genius line, "I hit you harder than meth." I'm glad. The song's also very overdramatic, but that's in the entire discography. There's a sort of like a refrain or like a hook where he said it's like sex, fashion, love, fashion. But like look at that. What fashion? You talking about scene? You talking about being skinny? Because Drain Gang's doing it better. Or I don't know, Lil Uzi. Everyone's doing it better than you. He looks weird. But you guys are gonna see on these first 2 albums, he mentions fashion way too many times to actually not have that looked at. And I know he was a hairstylist on MySpace, but like who actually thought that was appealing? I remember looking at pictures of Blood on the Dance Floor when I was little, and I was like, well, Black Veil Brides looks weird, but at least they're not that guy. Next, we get the song Bitches Get Stitches. There's a electro pop sort of synth backing here. It's okay for a sec, but it quickly falls into a very generic hole. I could have wrote these lyrics when I was 7. They are seriously lacking in any substance or even form. It's just like, just over it. They're just over each other. They just keep going and going. And it's not like a barrage of incredible lyrics. This is just like, it's word vomit. And it's like half rapped, half sung. It's bizarre. And here Davi's vocals are particularly androgynous. I don't know if it's on purpose, but they make me uncomfortable, particularly because the lyrics are so sexual on every single song on here that it's just kind of gross. It's literally Slanesh in musical form. And the format for the songs has like already been established for the rest of this album. It's like intro, A, refrain, chorus, B, refrain, chorus, and then refrain, chorus. It's pretty simple. Not that I expect them to be in prog, but you could have added a bridge or switched it out or changed the instrumental. It's really mind-numbing stuff. The next song is the self-titled title track, Blood on the Dance Floor. It sounds like poorly done drum and bass. I can appreciate the instrumental variety here, but it's just so poorly done. It's just so weak. It's the most generic drum and bass I've probably ever heard, and it's gross. And it doesn't build at all. I don't feel any dynamics here. It just kind of keeps trotting along. There's a name drop for the album, but it doesn't really make much sense. And the format for the album so far has already fallen apart. Next, we got the song Sex and Violence. I'm feeling violence, all right. I listen to this and I'm just what? These lyrics are awful. They're truly bad. As bad as Broken Side lyrics get, they're not as bad as Blood on the Dance Floor lyrics when they're at their worst. Broken Side has some bad lyrics, and they have a sort of a valley of how bad they can get, like a shake it like it's chocolate milk. That line I can kind of forgive because it's just kind of dumb and it doesn't physically hurt me. The same cannot be said for Blood on the Dance Floor. The lyrics on this track are so incredibly graphic. I can't tell if it's suicidal. Honestly, if this song was a little more subtle and the hook was not as direct, it could be a Swans track. It's disgusting, but it's not like industrial or anything. This is when his format of like rapping has been established. It's like this gross like half spoken word kind of thing going on here. It's just bad. It's the worst stylistic thing Blood on the Dance Floor ever picks to have happen, just ever. And it's going to be here for about 3 albums. Next we get I Heart Hello Kitty. It's not really about Hello Kitty. It's a little different. When these synths hit at the beginning of the track, they're legitimately cringe inducing. But yeah, this isn't about Hello Kitty. It is about sex. The lyrics are about assault. It's not hard to see all the allegations about Davi, especially after songs like this were released, where the lyrics are so over the top and you can't really tell how often he's joking, because it's not like it's funny. It's just like, I will hurt you if you don't have sex with me. No pun intended, everything on here is an assault to my ears and also my soul. I honestly feel gross just listening to this. There's a line where he says, "Bitch, I'll make you effing cry." I'm just glad I never have to listen to this again. Next is the track You're a Dancer, Not a Lover. So this track has this like piano with these really weird like cinematic style synths. It's trying to build so hard, but it's just not working. But what it does do is just wash out the vocals. The vocals are gone. And this track is just god-awful dance pop. The hook on this track sounds like it's 2 steps away from being Crazy Frog. That's, as much as like that's kind of a joke, like listen to it, sounds a bit like it's gonna be Crazy Frog. Anyways, let's stop talking about that. So now we've got the song Modern World Christ, one of a few connections Davi makes between himself and Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. To say he's audacious would be an understatement, because not only is he actually advocating for harm, he's claiming to be like Christ, or at least a modern world Christ. If this is some sort of criticism saying like modern society is so depraved that this is modern world Christ, I don't know, that'd be kind of smart, but I don't think Davi's smart enough for that. Anyways, it's got these like really awful sounding, like buzzy, like bassy synths. It's really bad. This is the most overdramatic BS I've ever heard. And he's saying he got crucified like Jesus. This was 2008. I don't think Davi had the allegations yet. The words here don't even make sense anymore. This is the kind of song that's why scene kids got beat up in like when they were in high school or middle school, because scene was probably a thing when I was more in middle school, maybe a bit before that. It's not hard to see why it happened. Next, there's the track Money and Hose, because Davi gets hose. Look at this man. Do you believe him? Yeah, this is one of those tracks where he takes like a vocal sample or like a lyrical sample from some other artist, and he just like drills it into the ground. You'll see that a lot on the next album, but it's just a bad example. This track's got like these sirens that are going around. It's like a pretty average club type beat. This is when you hear the line, flashing my bling and they're sucking my ding. I feel like I'm losing brain cells. I feel like I'm actually, it's like you took my brain and have like a cheese grater and you're just back and forth. Fun. I was writing, this makes me want to stick a pen into my neck, and I was holding a pen while I was writing that down, so I could imagine this is a rather dangerous song to listen to. So danger music does have, still lives on. This is a real fun part where Davi calls himself gangster. Yes, I can imagine this man as gangster. He has the line that's a lot more, I don't even know if you can call it a joke. He says, lay off my thrill. Beats me. It beats me. Does that mean something to you guys? Like I can't decipher that. If any of you out there have any clue what it means, feel free to tell me what it means, because I'm lost. I'm lost. And now we get the song "Till Death Do We Party." I know he's being funny. "Till Death Do We Party," but it doesn't make sense, because like that means you party like after someone dies. For a dance pop track, you can't dance to this beat. He has a bunch of hooks on this track where he says like F me and he says like a location, and then he says something that like rhymes with that location, and he does that like, well, first of all, he does this type of theme like 12 times, and that's like a hook that he repeats the whole thing again. This is breaking me a little bit, just a little bit. Now we get the song "I Hope You Choke." This track is a total slog. It's got these bizarre symphonics. I don't know why Davi's doing it. This song is like a poor imitation of Panic at this point, which I guess Davi, being more derivative in his early career, would make sense, but he's always kind of derivative. Even though it is a poor man's Panic's first album, it's just so marred by Vanity's vocals at this point. His vocals are never going to be good, but here they're truly just terrible. Then we get the song "Fallen Star," which is probably the worst song on the album, probably the worst song in the discography. And actually, in my opinion, I think this is the worst officially released song ever. I'll say it, ever. I don't think anything gets this bad. The only minor caveat here is I'm saying that Chris Chan's music doesn't count. But even if I did, this probably could be on that track list. Seriously, it reaches Chris Chan quality. Chris Chan music. You got Sonichu stuff. This is about as bad. It starts off and it's already weird. It's got this like chimey synth sound over just a snare drum. It's electronic, I think, but it's poorly mixed, so how could I tell? It's really flat singing. Normally he sings like okay. Here he's just flat. Here we get the genius line, "You shine like Noah's Ark." Yep, I remember that in the Bible. Noah's Ark was shining really bright, and that's what led the people out of the... I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Someone cue the what did he mean by this? What did he mean by this? Yeah, seriously, nothing Broken Side has ever done has been this bad. Nothing any artist I could think of has been this bad, and LMFAO advocated for drugging women. It's just so disappointing, which is saying a lot, because Blood on the Dance Floor is already releasing garbage. Next we get the song "Libertine." Now if you guys know anything about the word libertine, it's a French movement actually from, I believe, the late 18th and early 19th centuries, where it's about these French people who were like really indulging in sacrilegious things and just depravity. They're like that one, however many days of Sodom, that book was written after this. My information's a little skewed here, but basically what I'm saying, Libertine should be the most depraved track on the album. So I'm scared for my life, because I have no idea at this point what could possibly be more depraved than I Heart Hello Kitty or any of these other tracks here that are pretty much advocating for sexual violence. But I don't know, it's more like a musical libertine kind of thing where like you want the most awful music and it's maybe you're sadomasochistic and it's appealing that way. These guitars are like out of tune. Like seriously, they sound flat. I don't know how you didn't tune your guitar. It's also ultra basic. Like it makes pop punk seem complex. The piano playing is okay, and I do like the bass line, but I cannot at all hear the vocals. There's a guest vocalist on this track that outshines Davi by a pretty wide margin, but he's still not all that great. The lyrics here are incredibly weak. This album just, as a total, ends on a whimper. This album is absolutely depraved. The fact that anything like this has ever been released is bewildering to me. It's got awful vocals, terrible lyrics, got the most basic at best instrumentals, but normally it's just incredibly appalling synths. Everything about this album was horrendous, and I'm glad I never have to listen to it again. This is the worst, probably the worst MySpace released album. Broken Side is better than this album, just as a total. Just everything they've done is better. This is a hard cope. Massive cope. I have to cope now with the fact that I've listened to this. I did bring up earlier that there's a wide range of things that garbage could still be. And this is very true in this discography. So there was a point where I actually just listened to some other music that wasn't put on the dance floor. So it was automatically better, but I just put on some songs I liked before from like, I don't know, like when I liked in middle school. And there was a point where I listened to some black metal, some newer releases. And it's so bizarre just getting that reality check of reminding you that there's something that's like way better. It feels really weird, is what I'm saying. So if I ever give a compliment to any of these albums, because I listened to a lot of them in a row, please take that with just a grain of salt, because it could just be less terrible or just less terrible in my tunnel vision. But anyway, now we got the other 2008 album, It's Hard to Be a Diamond in a Rhinestone World. Shine on, Davi Vanity, you creature, you cretin, you goblin, you fiend. We got the track Slash Gash Terror Crew Anthem, which starts off a trend where Davi says he's part of the Slash Gash Terror Crew. This lasts for one album, and it's not that long until they release another album. It's like a year or two. They don't need to forget about that. It's also a terrible name. It's fun. Like weird choral instrumental. I don't get it. It's probably sampled. And it's got Vanity's awful vocals that come out on top. It's really just a hook though. It layers in like a really terrible drum and bass instrumental. I was kind of appalled by it. It also references Hello Kitty way too often. I don't know what Davi's on, but here's his new song. Now we've got Save the Rave. Now this song had some appeal as it sounded like some Undertale music, but then it switched up. Now this track is way underproduced. It feels like a million different ideas just kind of smashed together without any competency or any good ideas surrounding it. So far, it's slightly less offensive than the last album was, but that's you could lie down and get over that bar. At some points it feels less produced than Let's Start a Riot, and I don't even know how that is possible. It ends with like this weird reverb effect where it just kind of just crushes itself in its own weight. Next, nice, we got a hit, S My D. This track is awful. It's almost like techno, not like house. It's techno. Awesome, we got some screaming. It doesn't fit at all, not at all. Also, these lyrics aren't funny at all. I know this is like a joke song, but it's just cringy to listen to. It's like, is this synth pop? I can't really tell. It's just gross. Some synths are layered in. There's a thing he says where he says, "Open me up like Christmas." I don't like a present. Are you the present? What? There are several interpretations of such a metaphor, not one of which is not sickening. Next is the hit, I'm a Monster. Apparently they bring this banger out in live shows. I'm already upset with it. I'm baffled at how genuinely these lyrics are worse than before. We're not shooting for the moon here with Blood on the Dance Floor lyrics, but they've gotten worse. They're a bit less graphic, at least in the sexual sense. Instead, it just says Davi's gonna kill you. But I had to eat my words saying that, because the song actually gets a lot more sexual as it goes on. They make a Gorillaz reference, which reminds me about how I could be listening to Gorillaz instead of this right now. And I'm not even a huge Gorillaz fan. I just would rather listen to that. This track's also way too long, but everything here is too long. Next is the title track, It's Hard to Be a Diamond in Rhinestone World, where we get the first ever slightly less awkward hook out of the discography so far, as this is a sampled vocal line. Like, it's a Dolly Parton song, but singing it's still more awkward than the Dolly Parton version, but it's better than the other Blood on the Dance Floor stuff. First of all, the beat on this track is just disgusting. Everything on this album just sounds super grimy, and I couldn't tell you why. The production doesn't match Davi's voice, but what does? Yeah, Davi's still got an appalling flow here. It's like this still like half spoken word, half raps, partially sung style. It's ew. Next we get the song Keys to the Bakery. The Bakery. That's where we're going. Oh my god. That's the hook. He says he's got the keys to the bakery. You think it's a joke? You think he says it one time? That's the hook. It doesn't make me excited. It makes me a little sad, actually. It's just painful. It hurts. More lyric samples on this track that just remind me I don't have to be listening to Blood on the Dance Floor. At least Broken Side had some energy and some punch to it. This just hurts. The line, got you wetter than Hurricane Katrina, is recurring in the song. It doesn't happen just once. Dobby thought that was smart enough to use multiple times. Next is the track Mosh and Roll, I guess. This one's just rap, so we got some crunkcore now. It's got this weird skeletal type beat. It's just missing a lot. He says more metal than Slayer. Yeah, I don't think so. The hook on this track is disgusting. It's not mixed well at all. It's just a disheartening song. What can I say? You know, at least it ends at some point. Apparently it's only 3 or 4 minutes, but I was listening to it and I was like, is this like 10 minutes long? No, 3 or 4. Next we get Suicide Club. I guess I'm joining. Pretty happy sounding for a song called Suicide Club. Doesn't seem to match too well. Yeah, it's pretty much the worst thing I've ever heard. Probably tries to make you join the Suicide Club. It doesn't seem like commentary. It's more like, please just join. We're running low on members, and it's enticing. And there's a song called Miss Bipolar. Well, I already hate it. Somehow these lyrics are both overdramatic and not serious enough. I don't know how we reach that perfect imbalance. It's just poorly mixed electro pop punk. It's just very ew. Next we get the song Sick with a Q. Yeah, it is the worst song title I've ever heard. It's also one of the worst beats I've ever heard. There's a line, Sick with a Q, you know how we do. What's this song about? I don't know. I'm genuinely just confused. Next we got Up All Night, which is another weird electro pop punk track. Yeah, there's not a single good idea here. It's actually astonishingly bad. And for once, I gotta say, it took a lot out of me to not just click skip. But you will. This is not the first time the discography does this to me, and it is certainly not the last. And then there's the Blood on the Dance Floor remix from the previous album. Now it's on this album just remixed. It's just as bad as the original. Just skip it. Next you got the song Do You Want to Be a Superstar? It's the same lyrical themes as always, just more depraved and gross stuff. He says, do you want to be a zillionaire? There's that
sense of childlike play and innocence
that I've been missing. There's a point where he raps about boobs, and then there's an ad lib that he says boing, but he stretches it out. It physically hurts to talk about this album. I hope you guys realize. Next we get the song Wet Dream War Machine. Doesn't that sound enticing? There's nothing here that's new. It's just slightly hornier than normal. At least the end of this album's in sight. It's actually pretty boring for such an out there title. There was a bit where I heard like a second of music lost, and it sounded a bit like file corruption, which I'm like, dude, Davi, you can re-record a song. It's not gonna kill you. There was like an awful like post-crunge voice that was singing at some point. I don't know what that was on about. I'm glad it's new, but it's not good. Now we get Mad Rad Hair. I'm mad. It talks about a catwalk at some point. Keep this man as far away from a catwalk as possible. I don't want to see him up there. Not even for any like social reasons or anything else. I just don't like the look of him. I don't think anyone does, at least anymore. Some of you used to like that, and I'm not gonna let you forget it. Yeah, he wouldn't be anywhere near a catwalk. On his 2011 YouTube live show that's on YouTube, he's wearing jorts. The dude would not be anywhere near a catwalk. There's not even any emotion like attempted on this track. It's as flat as it gets. Thank God that's the album. So glad it's done. There's a lot more synths on this album, but just because there's more synths does not make it better. Massive disappointment, but you guys knew that. Yeah, boring, disgusting lyrics, awful synths, just awful overall. It's a very cringe album, but I'm giving this one a cope. Next, we get the 2010 album Epic. I think it's their first studio released album because the production does get a bit of a markup. But first of all, this album cover is just awful. But it is different from their other albums, so you probably think that it is actually produced. Unfortunately, you get a product here that's about an hour and 10 minutes long. It's their longest album. Nothing about it feels short. Nothing about it is appealing. But I listened to it, so I'm going to talk about it. Starts with the song Death to Your Heart. Now, already noticeably cleaner production, but that doesn't mean the beat is any good. It's just falling flat again. Now there's a whole just flood of auto-tune here on the vocals. The other guy, I think it's the new guy, also has his auto-tune. Now this is still terrible, but I gotta admit, this is a lot closer to what an actual song might be kind of like. So, I don't know, now it's music, I guess. There's a line where he says, ha ha ha, he. I want to go home. So stupid. And it's so bad, but at least I can hear the lyrics here. Not that I really want to. Next we get the track Beautiful Surgery. It's got the worst spoken word intro I've ever heard. The song moves very quickly from these awful electronic breakdowns to these horrendous low commentary verses. At least there's those classic BOTDF lyrics that we love so much. And it's overly edgy, as if that's anything new. Now we get Sugar Rush. It's got these weird, like, whirling synths all going around for the intro until it breaks into full-blown electronica, but it's still pretty boring. There's another line about MySpace, but I'm pretty over it. Like, this is 2010. I'm pretty sure people were using Facebook. And it's overly edgy. It's more Hello Kitty holding a knife aesthetic. It's starting to catch on at this point that the album's taking a bit more of a dance type route. Not that I want to dance to any of this. The lyrics are also a lot less sexual now, but now they're just kind of bad. Now there's the song Lose Control. It's got a really annoying beat. I don't know what to tell you. Lyrics try to paint Davi as like way stronger than he is. There's not actually that much more for me to digest on this track. It's the same as always. The bridge, actually, I could give a little bit of kudos to, because it sort of ends with the sort of screamed version, like the harsh vocals version of what the refrain already was. But if the refrain was good, that would be a good part of the song. But it wasn't good. Next is the song Candyland. It's got a cringe-inducing spoken word section. This song is sickening, particularly from the overly horny lyrics. They're even a bit violent. The chorus is awful. Actually, everything here is just awful. This is kind of sonically pleasing synth, sort of, towards the end, but that is it. At this point, I actually played a Broken Side song just to remember that music can be better than this. And I was like, wow, Broken Side, you're doing it. Really doing it. You're better than someone. I mean, at least Broken Side has some consistency. Anyways, now we get the track Horrifically Delicious. Got these really overly buzzy synths with another whirling one going around the top. Another bad idea, but not one that's new anyway, so what am I even complaining about? The hook sounded actually a little bit like Concrete by Poppy. I listened to that, I'm like, oh, that's kind of Poppy. But, God, I hope Poppy wasn't influenced by that, because Poppy can actually sing. Davi cannot. It's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Next is the track Looking Hot Dangerous. I don't know what that means. Punctuation wasn't right, so I'm not sure what to think about it. Looking Hot Dangerous, more like I'm endangered currently. Help. This is a part where that J dude says he'll throw a dildo in your grave. Okay, like a threat. Like I'm not gonna feel it. I'm dead. Or if it's just in my grave, then it's not in my casket, so it's like not gonna be touching me. So even if I could feel, I wouldn't. I'm discheesed. Next is the song Inject Me Sweetly, which sounds like the other track that we just covered. There's too many hooks, but alright. Got these really awful metaphors on this track, which you see a lot in the Blood on the Dance Floor discography, but it's nothing new. Not gonna be old anytime soon. Just buckle up. There's a part where someone says you're sick as STD. What? Next is the infamous song Sexting. Now, if you have never heard a Blood on the Dance Floor song other than Bewitched, and then you hear Sexting, you're gonna think it's as depraved as music can get. That's not true. I've listened to the other Blood on the Dance Floor albums. they're worse. But sexting is awful. It's terrible. It's just talking about like, what if I want to have sex with this person or this person? I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what you want. I want to cut my ears off after this thing. It starts with like a chiptune rhythm. It sounds kind of Mario inspired, I guess. The hook is disgusting. It's literally just chanting sex over and over. Wow. The chorus doesn't work rhythmically. It doesn't. It's also just the most gross lyrics I've ever heard. There's a Family Guy Quagmire sample. Family Guy sample. Family Guy sample. Next is the song Love Struck. There's no love on this album. Don't play these games with me. The opening synths are okay, and I found them kind of appealing, but then it turns into like a club beat again, and then it's over. The lyrics here are inconsistent. They're very, very stream of consciousness, but it's like you have like triple ADHD. Like he says like one thing, and then the same like rhyme scheme, he says another thing, but it doesn't relate to that thing at all. And it's not like it's building on it. It's just like, you're this to me, you're this to me, you're this to me. I like this about you. I like this about you. It not saying anything. Apparently, there's supposed to be "Scream for My Ice Cream" here. I couldn't find it, nor did I really want to, so we're not gonna talk about it. But now we got the song "Believe," and it's a song. It's got like an acoustic guitar played by Davi, according to the music video. Super simple stuff. I could play that, and I don't play guitar. It's as generic as lyrics can get. It's pretty cringe. It's got like this skeletal like trip hop type beat. I don't know what they're doing here. The lyrics mean literally nothing. Like I couldn't. There's less emotion here than, I don't know, dude. Like the color gray. Next is with the song "I'm What Dreams Are Made Of." God, I hope not. It's just ew. It's bad electronica. Surprise. It's got like this bouncy rhythm to it. I don't know what it's going on about. It also doesn't build at all. Songs can sometimes be referred to as movements. There's a reason behind it. It's because they shift and move at least towards a different chorus. This song is ultra consistent, and consistent to the point of pure repetition. It's like if you took like 5 minutes of a krautrock piece and made it 30. That's the kind of philosophy they're going with here. It's vomit. It's terrible. It's garbage, and it makes me want to stop listening to music forever. This album is a war crime in musical form. Next is a song, it's On Like Donkey Kong, and this is the most crunkcore song on the whole album. It's also the worst. The ad-lib vocals are awful here, as bad as they'll ever get. It is just hip-hop screamo, so, I mean, crunkcore achieved. And if you guys know about the Oreo McFlurry lyric that Blood on the Dance Floor has written, this is the song with that line. That line's on the song. It's no better here than you probably might have read it somewhere. It's all over music reviews. It is infamously terrible. It's not funny. It's just disgusting. Might be the single worst track I've heard in a really long time. But the bar for that is really high. Next is the track "Party On." There's symphonic synths on this opening here. They're just really bizarre. And then it gets kind of clubby. It's like if Owl City wanted me to off myself. This is the most soft-hitting, most disgusting excuse for a song just about ever. Like seriously, like you have these songs called "I Heart Hello Kitty," and then you have a song called "Party On." How is that even supposed to stick out in an over an hour-long album full of 4 and 3 minute long songs? And there's supposed to be a song called "Sluts Get Guts." It's not here. Sorry. That was a song that's 5 minutes long. It's called "You Done Goofed." I sure did goof. I sure did goof. I goofed when I was born. I goofed when I woke up this morning. I goofed when I decided to have food more than once a month, because listening to this has made my life worse. Of course, I could look at it glass half full and say, hey, you can only go up from here. And that's true. I do now have a greater appreciation for all music that isn't this. It's got a terrible spoken word opening. Not the last time it's going to happen. Also, I don't think it's the first time. But just buckle up. It's a very generic hip-hop beat from like 8 years earlier. I don't know what it's doing here. And why is this one mixed so much worse than the rest of the album? It genuinely sounds like worse than everything else here. I don't know what could possibly have gone wrong for them to forget how to mix. It's not like the rest of the album's mixed particularly well, but still. It sounds a little like it's about the assault allegations, but I couldn't tell you. There's a part where Davi says he's not going anywhere. I hate how that line is true. I'm talking about him right now. He's living in my head. rent free. Housing prices of the rest of my body is about to go down because I got Davi Vanity in my head. And then you get the track Success is the Best Revenge. It's just terrible crunkcore. Way too vulgar though. It makes me reconsider my whole life. I've grown numb to all this like a long time ago, and now it's just so boring. Then we get the song Innocent High. It's not about drugs, it's about having sex with the teacher and a teacher having sex with students. Whatever the ages are, I have no idea. Thanks, Davi Vanity. This makes me reconsider a lot of things, and listening to it, I was considering punching my computer. Next, we get the song IDGAF. I wish I could say that at any point of this. But yeah, it's not worth your time. This made me miss Broken Side. Miss Broken Side. Think that there was actually a lot of value to those albums that I listened to. Because at least they had some energy. Got the same chorus over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So listen to a minute of the song and you're done. Next we get F the Rest, We the Best. It's got cringe-inducing lyrics. Who's shocked? There are points where it doesn't even rhyme. It does hurt to listen to, I'm sure you know. It's like this album is like a joke, but not like a funny joke, like if it's Sam Hyde and it's turning me into a joke. Anyways, the album ends with the song An Epic of Epicness. It's sort of like a remix outro based on the track Believe. I don't know what that even means anymore. It's just stupid. So it's just whatever. That's the album. Every single creative choice on this album is terrible. And for them to finally have production, they squandered their chances here. All the compliments I can count on this album, I could probably count on one hand. It was like 2 or 3, I think. Yeah, it's not enough to get you anywhere. This is a cope. All right. On to album number 4. We're halfway through. What's up next? It's 2011's All the Rage. It's not all the rage. Well, I got a lot of rage, but it's not the kind they want. But I will be honest, this is probably their best album. At least so far, it's their best album. Stylistically, it's probably the most consistent. Production is probably the least offensive out of any album, either this one or the next one. But we'll look at that. This is the album with Bewitched, so you know it from that. This is probably the most popular album. Probably one of their more highly rated ones. But that's only from weird people, so don't listen to them. But I can't appreciate this album for a couple reasons. It is their least offensive output. I think they only reference sex like once or twice, which, you know, you're allowed to reference sex. I mean, I love Red Hot Chili Peppers. They do that all the time. But there's a subtlety to it, or a just not describing abuse to it that is, I would prefer, or just not the Slanesh depraved qualities that you just flood the on the dance floor music so far. And you know, it's never even been like Broken Side where they're saying panties all the time, or just all this random stuff that makes it feel juvenile. And instead it's just depraved, which I can kind of get with juvenile. It's just kind of stupid and funny. Well, I mean, funny's but you know, I like it a hell of a lot more than this. All right, so this album, it starts off with Dark Dreams featuring Lady Nogrady. I don't know how to pronounce her name. That's what we're getting though. She's not on Spotify. Not sure why, but this is who she is. You got like a female spoken word over like dungeon synth. I don't know. Kind of gave me high hopes for the album, actually. I was like, what on earth is this? Maybe it's gonna be so off the wall ridiculous. I'm gonna give this like a 3 out of 10. No, it's not that. That's just like the intro part before like the track kicks in, which the lyrics are really dumb, but that's how they're always going to be. The song is a lot more melodic than their previous stuff, and it's a heck of a lot less disgusting too. It's pretty boring overall. It's less impactful than their other material, but it is a lot more palatable. I mean, I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel for any kind of compliment here. Next, we get the song Find Your Way. All right, we're back to Davi's cringe sort of earlier album flow. It starts talking about race for some reason, like racism, race, and people being different races. It's also about being gay in this song, because it's just throwing a lot of darts. Yeah, I mean, congrats, we've reached political commentary era, blood on the dance floor. It's got this really distracting, dense production, and now we've reached an era where Broken Side gets really just dense production, and it becomes maximalist on the next album, which you'll hear me throw around a lot. But it's just distracting and it's never appealing. There's not that much going on in the song I can really grip onto. Next we get the song Happy Valentine's Day. So glad that that's the name of a song. Yeah, it's loud and dumb emo. It's poppy. It is overly edgy, just threatening violence and stuff. It's just about hating someone. There's nothing here that's like actually important. It's cringe and there's nothing I want to return to. But at least the instruments suck less. Next we have the song Bewitched, their biggest hit, featuring Lady O'Grady. And oh boy, it's the song. Got a lot of synths, got a lot of good times. Here we go. It refrains a lot with You Little Witch, where he sings this thing, then he says, You Little Witch. Okay, this is actually their best song so far. It's better than everything off their previous albums. Of course, that is not hard. Just, honestly, just like, you pick anything out there and it's probably better than those songs. It's over dramatic and pretty dumb too. But this has the most charm out of any Blood on the Dance Floor song. Only thing is, I can't really tell if the protagonist likes the witch or doesn't like the witch, because he's talking about having all these spells on him, but he says it's awful, but he likes it. I don't think he thought it through, but you know, I mean, I'm taking what I can get at this point. Still not a good song, not even close to a good song. Just it's the least awkward hook that they've made. Next, we reach the song Nirvana. If you wanted some unnecessary marijuana references, here you go. Got a gross club beat. Congratulations. And oh man, do these lyrics suck. Hilariously, the message of the song is weed is the only thing that can make you happy, because life is full of suffering or some overly edgy BS that they're putting out. Where was this production on the first two tracks? It's like just such a weird gap. Next, we get the title track, All the Rage. It's got like a robot voice filter with these really edgy lyrics. It's really dumb. Somehow, it sounds overproduced, but it also sounds poorly recorded. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, it really just passes you by, and it also drags a bit too. Hope you guys aren't too tired of the hilariously terrible just creative choices here. But now we've got some piano. This is on the track Untouchables. But over this piano is like black metal type screaming. And screaming is a little bit more rare for Blood on the Dance Floor than other scrunk bands. But it's here. And I was waiting for something to kick in, but it took too long. It's got these like skittering synths over the whole thing. They're just so gross. It's got like this electro metalcore type of thing going on. It's gross. This is a part Davi says on the song that he shoots people. It's pleasant. The hook here doesn't sound too terrible. I just don't know what they're saying. So yeah, it's poorly produced. This is the part where he says he wants to make the haters like believe. Believe in what? I don't know what you're trying to say. Like believe in Blood on the Dance Floor? Like, have you seen your live performances? Like, there's nothing to believe in. Believe in hell? I believe in hell. We live here. Next, we get the song X times 3. It looks like XX3, but it's X times 3. It's got these weird growly synths. You got the horny lyrics again. Fortunately, they're not as graphic, but they're not good. And it's still awfully produced, so nothing new. And I think it's about a threesome, I guess. The hook here is so bad. Like, check it out for yourself. It's the worst. And it hasn't really declined in quality, but it's just still so bad. And we get the song PLUR. It's got this like really weird washed out like guitar echo, and it's got these weird synths over the top. That is before there is a jarring switch that goes into the verse. And the hooks here are kind of bad. The switch ups are kind of cool in concept, but they're executed so poorly. Now we got the song Star Power, because who has star power more than Davi Vanity? It's full of video game references with a video game beat. I don't know, man. It's actually terrible. It tries to reference killing somebody, which by the way is not in a line that has like any meaning anywhere. But he says like Ed Gein, but he says Ed Gein. It's dumb. It's just dumb. Just stop. Don't listen. Now there's a song called Yo Ho. Can you guess what this song's about? It's a pirate song. Now I like pirates more, just about as much as the next guy. I think they're super sick. I think the aesthetic is cool. There's the swords, you got the guns, ships, money, liquor. Being a pirate is cool. You got eye patch sometimes. This song is bad. It's a dumb joke. It's really dumb. He like raps in like a fake like pirate voice. It's just about the worst thing I've ever heard. It's literally raw XD, so random. The song. Then we get the song The Loving Dead with the bonus Love Sucks. It's super weird, man. Yeah, it's got bizarre production, but I guess it's the most standard scene song here. It's overly edgy and bizarre. There's no reason to like link it together with the Love Sucks portion. Literally none. There's even like a pause before the next song starts, but it's just considered one track. There's nothing artistic about this. It's the most pretentious BS I think I've ever seen. there's this like massive reverb effect on Davi's voice, and it like kind of trails him a bit. It's actually like a bit delayed, and the way he pronounces his s's, at least on the end of a word, he's like for like a really long time, and you just it sounds like snakes on the song. You hear like all his background, and it just snakes away. Fortunately, because the other two songs are bonus tracks, I think that is the album. So this is the most essential album by these guys. Basically, the three most essential are the first one, because that one is their worst, and then you've got their third, because that's when they started getting more popular. That's their crunkcore one, and now you got All the Rage, which is their best, but it's still pretty terrible. It's just like the most charming, like the least offensive, because I hope you were missing the graphic lyrics, the threats of violence, and horrific production, because the production's about to get way worse. But with this album, there's less to hate here, but there is nothing to like. So it is still a cope. Next, we get the 2012 album, Evolution. Is Evolution, I guess. It's called Dubstep. First, we get the song Rise and Shine, featuring our good old pal Deuce. I can't tell that he's on the track. I could not tell at all. Get ready for the worst lyrics ever. Rain, rain, go away. That's what he says. That's what the man says. And I'm upset. There's piano, fake strings, fake guitar. You know, it's bad. There's like symphonics with like a really heavy, like synthetic type of kick going on. I don't really know how I feel about it, but it's not really positive. Yeah, the lyrics are awful. The production here is so terrible. It feels completely blown out. I actually thought my headphones were gonna break, or actually that they did break. I thought that like there's no way it could sound this bad if my headphones were intact. But this is when we get their maximalist sound. It's just as dense as possible. If you didn't want to hear anything, congrats. This is the album. Now we get the song Unforgiven. It's more blown out stuff, and it's still the weird maximalist production, and it's more terrible pseudo rapping. These vocals, they suck. It's more just gross progressive house. I just give it a skip, man. Next we have the song The Law of Love. This is the first of many intermission tracks on this album. I mean, it's already a bloated track list, but unfortunately this does not actually break up the pacing of the album, unlike Broken Side Will Never Die. This just churns it along, just keeps going. It does start with these sort of choral symphonics, and then you got a woman over the top talking about what love is, as if Blood on the Dance Floor knew. Now we get Frankenstein and the Bride, featuring Haley Rose, someone who will show up more than once on this band's discography. Poor thing. More spoken word. Bad. It's bad. Now it's just like 2K10, like club electronic. It's just gross, man. It's just, I don't want to be remembering these sounds. And it's super over dramatic, which it's always going to be a thing for these guys, but like it's here now, so I gotta talk about it, I guess. Honestly, Haley's voice is not great either. It's kind of bizarre overall. Next we get the song Fantasyland. Sick, dude. More spoken word intros. So glad. And they move back to the grotesque sexual lyrics here. They're not as bad as before. They're bad though. They're really bad. Yeah, it means nothing. It's just gross and dumb. It's rapping over dubstep. Ew. Very classy. Dubstep, new metal, hip hop. I would have thought would be such a good combo. Now we get the song Revenge Porn, a song I will refer to a few times when talking about this album. Doesn't it sound pleasant that there's a song called Revenge Porn? It's about what you think it's about. It's about revenge porn. Davi's girlfriend cheats on him, and he posts pictures of her naked online. Congrats, it's the song. So the song has the intro, and then he goes, "Take your pants off," and then the beat kicks in. That's the drop. Take your pants off. It's just gross. It's a gross song. Call it what you will. I dislike it. Now there's a song Mercy featuring Amelia Arsenic. I don't know this woman, but she's here, I guess. It's more gross house, just what I expected, I guess. More that maximalist sound that I like so much. It's just talking about being dead, I guess. I don't really get anything out of it. Now we got the song Hollywood Tragedy featuring Sean Brandon. I don't know him either, but he's here. Got this weird, like, plucky synth section that gets filled in with these weird guitars. The singing here, like, sounds like industrial. A little hard to explain it like that, but you could kind of picture it on an industrial song. It's just not good though. Yeah, this album gets tiresome. It's just awful. Now we get Rampage of Love. It's another spoken word track about love being some stuff. Now we get the song The Last Dance. Okay. Surprise. Ew. It's terribly gross. Just awful. It's got these blaring synths, actually. They're rather distracting. It's just preachy BS trying to empower weird people. Now we get the song Incomplete and All Alone featuring Joel Madden. I don't know him. This is what I describe as gummy bear pop. It sounds like the Gummy Bear song. Just congrats. This all sounds like the Gummy Bear song. This whole album is the Gummy Bear song. Everything hurts. I am so tired of it all. I just want it to end. Then we get the song Deja Vu. Best part about this track, it mentions Deja Vu quite a bit, but for no real reason. It's potentially the ugliest percussion I've ever heard. It's obviously like electronic, but it's terrible. Really bad. It sounds actually like an assault upon my eardrums. It's cringe, overly like pseudo philosophical BS. Like you're not missing anything without listening to this. There's some terrible guitar work going on here. It's just overly simplistic, but it's not like you can even hear it because everything gets filled in over it. But I can kind of hear like him like trying to like strum in the background. It's just so stupid. Now we get the song "You Are the Heart." It starts off with a spoken word about suicide. Great. It's just like, oh, people commit suicide. Oh, I'm like, okay, but he's talking about it, and then like 5 words in, you hear this just maximalist production, and he's like, every day, every 14 minutes, these people commit suicide, and then he starts speaking over, but then it's just like this rush of synths, and then you can't hear him. You like, he's actually difficult to pick out. He's not given anything to stick out above the synths. He's totally buried. It's just a cheesy emo core like anti-suicide anthem. There's nothing special here. I mean, I'd listen to Adam's song over this, so go listen to Adam's song if you're craving something like this. Yeah, the guitar is just power chords. It's nothing special. One thing I like about this, or highly dislike, it's something I can grasp about it. It forgets that not all suicides are emos in middle school. In fact, most aren't. It's probably a lot of alcoholics out there, probably a lot of like war veterans, probably a lot of adults that are going to listen to this and be like, this is the most impersonal thing I've ever heard. You're not saving anybody, Davi. Now you get the song The Right to Love. It's a spoken word. Wow, political philosophy in a blood on the dance floor song. That's something I needed. It's surface level as hell. It's the most pretentious thing they've ever done. Now we get the song Lobotomy. Okay. Got these weird like unmixed strings with like trip hop over the top. Yeah, this is a massive skip. Just it's such a skippable track for an already bloated track list. Now we got a song called Mother Earth. It's another intermission about political philosophy. Is this actually the same album as Revenge Porn? Like there was a song about like leaking someone's nudes, and now there's like songs about like, oh, we should like unite and love each other. It's like you are not helping, man. Now there's a song called Love Conquers All. God, I hope so. Same cringe as before. Still talks about love and being weird, nothing new. Like listening to this, I had such a tough time just gripping on to the actual song. It's just so blah, so skippable, so nothing new. I wanted to skip so bad. Now it all ends out with "Love is the Message." Sure, I guess it's another intermission track, an intermission on the staple to the end of an album. Already a massive risk you're taking here, but it's nothing that you need to hear. This track almost sounds dystopian in the way it's written. It says, no separation, only love. And I know difference is the birth of conflict and all of that, but without difference, what even is life? Like, I don't want to be exactly like you or anyone else. I just want to be me. And I don't really know what you're trying to say here. You're just like, Davi, you built your whole career off of being a weird looking dude who sings terribly over electronic music, and it's just the worst thing ever. And little kids ate that up for some reason. And then you're saying no separation? Are you trying to get more people to be seen like you? Because I'll never do that. You couldn't pay me to do that. You couldn't pay me everything in the world to do that. Final thoughts on the album. There are 6 songs here with love in the name. I don't know, man. This disheartening. Bad songs, bad concept, dubstep, maximalist production, gross, cope. And now the final album that we're covering today is the 2013 release, Bad Blood, of which the YouTube comments had resounding support for, including adult male. I don't know these people. I don't know the adult males who like it. I don't know anyone who likes it, actually. I think someone in the comments said this saved them. Suicide? That might have been the last album. I hope you're doing well now, friend. Also, this cover art is terrible. He's got like a bouquet of grenades, and he's got like a gun. They're like zombies or something like that. Davi looks better than he's ever been. His face isn't looking too good. I think the decomposition's a little, probably taking a bit of a toll on his body. But you know, I mean, I hope he's doing okay. First, we get the song Unchained. It's super compressed and weird. Sonically, it's not that edgy. I mean, it's a little edgy, but the lyrics are very edgy. There's a cringeworthy flow to the way they're rapping here. It just all sort of sounds off. The chorus is like this such a weird like fake soul thing with like just these women singing in the background. It has not fit worse in any other song. Next we get the song "I Refuse to Sink," and as maximalist as the last album was, this album is true dubstep. There are wubs in these songs. You guys remember when people would make musical commentary talking about wubs? Here's the wubs. Congratulations, we have entered Wubtown. Population. This album. I hate this. It's so bad. There's a line where he says, "If killing wasn't illegal, I'd shoot you in the head." How clever of you, Davi. How amazingly clever. This is just after the album about love, too. I mean, it's a couple years later. But he's talking about love, and now he's like, I want to actually commit murder. So Jay's bars here are god awful, but I'm not surprised. It sounds horrendous. But now we reach the track Bad Blood. Got these like awful, like clicky percussion with these like weird synth arpeggios just bouncing up and down. It switches in like a terribly jarring way into like the actual verse. Yeah, it's still pretty maximalist, and there's just no room to breathe here. Now we get the song Always and Forever. Yeah, this song is the most overly sappy and basic love song I've like ever heard. It's accompanied by these like gross keyboard sounds. I just don't get it. I'm just so confused why this is like such an emotional 180 from previous tracks, talking about literally wanting to like kill people. Now it's like, oh, but I love you. Okay, I guess. The metaphors here are awful. Nothing smart is being said. The bridge here is like the worst thing I've ever heard. Did you guys miss Haley Rose? She's back on the track Fake is the New Trend. Wow, that is that's some commentary, Davi Vanity. That's commentary. You're getting a little too smart. Don't go too far there. You're not that smart to talk about fake being the new trend. That's pretty crazy. Wow, this is bad. It's really bad. Yeah. This commentary is like not even true. Like fake being the new trend. Like some people are fake, I guess. It's just so surface level. Like okay, like people are fake. This is on like Instagram memes that like 10-year-olds can see. Yeah, I mean, other than their lo-fi style, this is like the worst production that they get. Now I get the song Damaged. I'm damaged. It almost sounds like there's a sampled chainsaw here. It'd be nothing more than to just be edgy. This sounds, God, bear with me here. It sounds like In the End by Linkin Park for like this like call and response thing where like Jay is rapping, but Jay's rapping is not as good as the Linkin Park guy. But Davi's like, imagine him trying to sing like Chester. Oh, but it's his singing. Like they should switch it around, and that's you're not gonna get a great result out of Jay singing and Davi rapping, but it's a hell of a lot better than what is here. Which is both are a hell of a lot worse than In the End by Linkin Park. That song is awesome. Man, I'm thinking about like good music now. It's almost like I should have never listened to this. How is the dubstep more annoying than before? It's genuinely shocking to me. Now we get the song Behemoth. I don't know if it's spelled correctly, but it's here. It is here. There's like a piano that like switches off with like dubstep wubs. It's like piano wubs, piano wubs. God, these similes are so bad. Why is this political theory? Why are they trying to be smart? It's repetitive. There's not a single cohesive thought in this song. It's like the weirdest like conspiracy theory thing I've like ever heard. And I'm already an aficionado for conspiracy theories, but this thing is just off the walls. Then we get the song Divided We Fall. It's got like gross edited piano, and then you got this rapping over the top. That's just terrible. It's just ultra generic. I feel like I've heard this song 20 times. Next, we get the song Crucified by Your Lies. It took a minute. It took about 5 years, but we're back calling ourselves Jesus again, guys. Or Davi's calling himself Jesus. He's doing it. Yeah, it's an awful track here. It's got a weird symphonic trip hop combo. Hope you're happy. It sounds like it's ripping off Fame Monster, the Lady Gaga material, but it's not good. It's about Davi acknowledging the allegations about assault, and this is where I mentioned way at the beginning of this video that I would have to address this a little bit more. Like even if I say that everyone who claimed that he has assaulted them was wrong, let's just say they're all wrong. There's still video evidence of him asking minors for their bras as he's on stage, him showing his butt to just a whole crowd of presumably a lot of them are kids. Just him saying a lot of overly sexual things to kids, just marketing his albums towards kids. I mean, like he did have All the Rage, the album, which there is one song that's a bit more sexual, but I guess you could pass that album off as just being kind of silly and kind of fun or whatever. But it's still so clearly obvious that he could not just say that he's totally innocent. And he does address that in the song. He's like, "Yeah, I know I'm not perfect, but I'm not like a pedophile." I'm like, "No, you're kind, you kind of are." Even in your even with your words, like you still mess up on stage, man. You're still just a weirdo. But if that wasn't enough, Davi's comparing himself to Jesus. I'm not gonna talk about the song anymore because I'm tired of it. Next, we get something grim, like this chime type keyboard that's going on, but when it gets filled in, it's not good anymore. It started okay, but then it loses all its power. Probably the most boring song on the album here. But out of all these tracks, it's probably also the most charming, just kind of like the least egregiously offensive. But there's nothing you want to return to here. It's pretty bad. Now we get the song Redeemer, which is more dubstep, and the song's already like dragging in like 10 seconds. And what on earth are these lyrics? They're so cringe. Yeah, and this song keeps like throwing like new ideas at you, which I appreciate, but it's just like rehashing like the same hook and trying to like fit it in like new things. And it's not like Duke by Genesis where you're like, oh sheesh, guide vocals the same lyrics as like Duke's Travels, which is like the last song, where it's like meant to be like a whole sweet thing going on here. This isn't prog, dude. It's just like, ooh, what if we dropped the wubs? What if we dropped the rest of the instrumental? What if we made some good music for once? They didn't include that idea, but I wish they did. I wish they did. Next, we get more Haley Rose content, baby. This song is Morning Star. Same old, same old. Nothing new. There's nothing here to grab onto. Yeah, at this point, I'm just consistently annoyed. Now we get, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the name of this track. It's either Everyone Dies Alone or Sick Sad World. Sick Sad World is the hook, so it's probably that. Awesome. Spoken word intro. I missed it. That was the, it's here. I'm losing my mind. Thank God I'm almost done with this video because this is genuinely grating to even think about. It's got these awful keyboards with like electronic drums again. It doesn't sound good. It's more political commentary, I guess. This is actually the worst song of the album. It's not even like formatted well, and the hooks have never been more awkward. Yeah, it's talking about how screwed America is because like we don't do anything. Oh, but I'm sure Davi's trying to solve these issues. I'm sure he's donating money and giving to the poor and being a good role model for kids. And so after these already emotional tracks, just the ballads, we reach the final track, Revenge Will Have Its Day. This is not like those. It's not like an emotional note to go out on. It's No True Love Waits. This is just another, it's a different song. It's kind of funk based actually, and I gotta give it a compliment. The bass riff over the whole thing is actually, it's pretty nice. Is it like a difficult bass riff? No, I could probably play it myself, but it's a nice little touch that I'm like, oh, thank God, there's something here, however minute, to appreciate. But that is the only good part of the song. I'm sure you guys could imply that. These lyrics are so terrible. There's also like a siren sample over the whole track that just sounds terrible. Anywho, that's the album. So it's another terrible like creative choice by Blood on the Dance Floor to just add a bunch of dubstep influences. I don't know, it was kind of popular at the time, but it's not anything new that's good or anything good at all. So I mean, that's the album. It's another cope. Congratulations. And just because you're addressing more political stuff and trying to be more edgy, like your roots, doesn't make anything any better. So that is half of the Blood on the Dance Floor discography. I will see you guys next week with more. I am not happy to listen to it, but there's some new stuff coming, I guess. So we do get a bit of a few eras here. You get the first two MySpace albums, then you've got that sort of transitioning into the Real Scene album, and then you've got All the Rage, which is their album that is the most album that's, I guess, commercial. Still not good. And then you got these sort of two like extra maximalist production, like electronic style albums here. Am I looking forward to what they have next? No. Unlike Broken Sad, I'm not looking forward to anything they have next. I doubt they'll have anything good. And here's the thing. They have such a large output over 12 years that I can compare them to a few bands. Like, Broken Sad is 5 albums. None of them are good, but they do increase in quality towards the end, and they give me something to look forward to. It's not like it's consistently the worst creative decisions I've ever seen. Meanwhile, you got Tool, same amount of albums as Broken Sad, over like 30 plus years. That's too long, but I mean, what can you do? But it's possible to have a massive, just sort of release catalog, and that's actually that good. King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard started, I don't know, 2011, I want to say, and they've got way more albums than Blood on the Dance Floor. But here's the thing: they're all creatively different for the most part. They're all fun. Lyrics are good, singing is good, and they all have something new about them that's different. They're a lot of them are concept albums, and they're just better. Here, it's just a complete collapse of creativity. There's just a void of quality and a void in my soul because I never want to listen to this again, and I already wasn't going to. I mean, broke inside, I'd be like, yeah, let's play 40 ounce. Let's play Booty Call. Yeah, it's a bad song, but it's kind of funny. There's nothing here to return to. I'm not looking forward to the rest of this, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. It would help me out a lot. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, go ahead and comment down below. If you have anything nostalgic about Blood on the Dance Floor, well, I pity you, but I'd love to hear about it. Anyways, that's about it. I hope to see you guys next time for some more Genre January. This has been a Crunkcore Discog review. Hope you guys are doing well out there, and hope to see you guys next time. Have a good day. Bye.